Morning. As you can probably hear on the van, rain. Just looking at the Met Office app, which I've been doing all week. I like to follow the weather, we all do, don't we, as anglers? And no rain today, dry all day. Honestly, if we did our jobs like they do theirs, excuse me, there you go. If we did our jobs like they do theirs, we'd be out of jobs, wouldn't we? Really would. Stop whining, Bob. Right, 24th of February, we are heading to Acorn. Quick update, we fished the last of the Winter League. We fished the 6th round a couple of weeks ago, and we drew, we were along Cyanide Strait, which is pegs 13 to 24. 13 and 15 have dominated the section all the way through the series, to be honest. 13 or 15, if I won the section, if maybe what, if, you know, all those things, I would probably, well, I would have won the series. That's fact, I would have won the series. But that didn't happen. We drew peg 18, which I still sort of fancied. I thought if I mustered up third, I could sort of stay in the top 3. Didn't happen. We've had 6 skimmers, 1 good perch, and we had our first carp bite with 4 minutes to go, and it was £1. So we ended up with £8.5. Head was down a little bit, you know. We're competitive, we wanted to do well, we were there, we were third. I knew it was all on the draw. A lot of the others up around the top 6 had sort of drawn really well as well. We were up against it, but I thought we could muster third, I really did. Like I say, I ended up with £8.5. But then chatting to Gareth afterwards, who won it, well done G, he said he did manage to avoid pegs 21 to 31, but he had drawn 18 and he caught £4, and that was his dropper. And then I spoke to Rob Wiltshire as well, who dropped out of the top 6. Top 5 I should say. He ended up 7th, I ended up 6th, and he had to use his resort from peg 18, and again he had £6. So once I sort of heard that from those two, I sort of thought, well, yeah, maybe, you know, it's just one of those. I don't know how the series slipped by, and I never realised that that peg was that bad. But anyway, one of those. So onwards and upwards. Today we're going to Acorn again. It's the Ace of Acorn. So there's a new event down there. I'm not quite sure on how it works, so I'll sort of update you on that later, in later videos and such. But basically the winner of the match goes through to a big money final. There's money taken from every peg feed back towards this final, which will be in September. Now September, as we all know, carp get their heads down, and there'll be weights from Acorn on, you could frame, I'm not saying win, but I believe you could frame on 75% of the pegs. I really do believe that time of year. So I'm interested in that. And it's a Saturday match. It doesn't really clash with anything else on our Sundays. So we've come down. We did think we were going to fish in dry weather. Right, bud? We did think we were going to fish in dry weather. We're not. Met Office, honestly. Anyway, let's get down to the fishery.
Probably watched one of Bob's videos, that's what it was.
Fucking hell, honestly. No need of it, is there? Do you hear that, Callum? Oh mate, I get so much stick.
Hey Gareth, I said those two fish have probably watched one of Bob's videos.
High art, that is.
Okay, so straight across to 16 meters. Um, we intend to just sprinkle a little bit of feed at 14 and a half on the way, which by the way is the line I'm expecting to catch on. That's around 4 foot deep. And the shelf there is just lovely, and I'm just expecting to catch there. But we're going to go across a 16 and a half, which is nowhere near the boards, by the way, on this peg. This peg is wide. I've got a 17 and a half metre section in my bag behind me. I may well get that out later if I feel the need. But even that won't get quite across. As you can see, there's just a gentle breeze left to right. Tried for sort of 10 minutes across, nothing. So we're shipping back out to have another go. Going to put a tiny bit more feed in there this time. Again, sprinkling a tiny bit at 14 and a half meters. We don't actually realise it at the moment, but that's too much bait, believe it or not, for today. But we'll go into that a little later as the match unfolds. But it's just one of those days. We had an awful lot of rain and the temperatures dropped again the last 3 days, didn't they? Lovely week till around Thursday, I think it was. So it's just a maggot over micros, single maggot, size 18, 808, 012 line, and that's a 3B10 float. I'm really expecting, as I mentioned, my 14 and a half metre line to be my best line. I've just started at 16 really, just so we could sprinkle a bit on that 14 and a half metre line and sort of let it settle. Or that's the plan anyway. Already I've seen Gareth and don't know the chap's name, but just to me right there you can see Gareth on 10. You can't see Paul. Paul's on 11 between me and Gareth, so it's sort of out of shot to my right. And then you've got peg 9 you can see there at past Gareth. Both of those I've seen striking a little bit already, so whether they're getting liners. And that bite we had then was completely out of the blue. Lovely positive bite though. I just shipped under me rollers there. That's better. At least that rain went away anyway, but we had a frost on the van this morning. Couldn't believe it. As I said, we've had like 16 degrees, I think it was, one day this week. And then by the Thursday, it was 4 degrees, just like that. Then the Friday, the same. And now today, Saturday morning, pouring with the rain that wasn't forecast. I don't really know how the fishery is going to respond to that. We've had an awful lot of rain. I mean, the lake couldn't be any fuller from before anyway, so I just don't know. I mean, it's a hell of a temperature drop, isn't it? You'd expect that much of a temperature drop to affect it. I think any sort of you're talking several degrees change in a very short space of time, I think it always affects the fishing. But this particular day, I do think I read it a little bit wrong. I think just in my head, I'm thinking Ace of Acorn qualifier, want to win, and I've fed a little bit too much already. Not massive, but it's all it takes. You only have to, on this line I'm on now, I've probably put half a cab pot of sort of micros and maggots on that when we were going out to that 16 metre line. And we've had one, which is great, right on top of the feed there, as you've seen. So that's our second fish. And it's seldom you see this as well, Acorn flat. Down here near Clevedon, you're not that far from the sea, and it's always windy. To get a flat day like this is very rare. Yeah, and they can get quite fickle in those conditions as well. It's sort of the conditions you think you want because you can fish everywhere in your peg, nice and long. But the fish can start, they can be very fickle. Bites and that can be absolutely tiny. Don't mind that though, I enjoy a tricky match. Second fish, so anyway, and Alex on my left hasn't had a bite, nor has Paul on my right. But pegs 9 and 10 have caught a couple of fish each, I think, already. Not worried about that at the moment, those very early days. We're about 30 minutes into the match now when we've hooked the second fish. And they're small, aren't they? Stockies, really. Which makes me think already that maybe the bigger fish aren't going to go until late in the day. That or they're just not in front of me, I don't know. We'll see. It can be like that quite often at fisheries like this, like Acorn, Snake Lakes like this, where the quality fish are only going to feed late, and you do have to target those few silvers, those carassios, little tench, the stockies, anything that's willing to feed. Try and catch those. Don't go thinking you're going to catch big carp just because big carp are present in that lake, because it's quite often the case that they will feed late, or you're just not on them. So only two fish in the first 30 minutes is a bit of a telltale, really, isn't it? So I've actually gone to 17.5 meters just to try and find like the odd bite, because I realise this is fishing very hard now. We actually end with 12 stockies, one little tench, two big goldfish, are fairly big for goldfish. One good skimmer. Um, you'll see in a minute where that sort of got us, but I do feel the peg was worth a little bit more. I'm not going to beat myself up about it too much though, because Alex on my left has only had one tench, and Paul at a shot on my right has had one perch and one roach. And that's how hard it's been. But I do feel the peg was worth more. I don't think I would have caught enough to win the match, which give that away. We haven't done. But it was definitely worth a little bit more, I think. You've got to be critical of yourself, haven't you?